Welcome back to The Express at the BC Ferry Tsawwassen Terminal. You know, a trip to the Gulf Islands is always a welcome treat. But today on our Wedding Bells segment, we're going to feel like we're going somewhere even more exotic as Sarah gets prepped for her wedding day in Italy.
Carrots Wedding Bells is brought to you by Carrots, online at carrots.com.
Hi, I'm Aubrey.
And I'm Sarah.
And we are the Wedding Bells.
I just got engaged.
And I did not. We're on an adventure to plan the big day. I do. Sarah is getting married in a boot.
Aubrey, I'm getting married in Italy, a land known for romance.
And fast cars.
And pasta.
And hot boys.
Bellissima! At the Italian Cultural Center, they know one key to a successful Italian wedding
is tomato sauce.
And my mama's tomato sauce is the best tomato sauce.
No, my mama's tomato sauce is the best tomato sauce. Oh, and the stereotypes had begun.
Everybody has their own idea about what tomato sauce is, but general thing is you want to do onions, garlic, celery, which is the holy trinity for mirepoix.
Tomato sauce is very important, especially if it's for your daughter's wedding.
Fabio Risotto said one father of the bride's secret.
His secret to the sauce was he added ham hock.
He wanted to add pig's foot.
That's exactly what he wanted. So
I would keep a secret.
Aubrey.
Has there ever been an Italian wedding without tomato sauce?
Never.
Chef Rebecca Johnson told us her secret to crushing tomatoes.
You want to squeeze the tomato, just poke it with your fingers first and then squeeze.
This reminds me of Halloween. Remember, you go through the haunted house, you stick your hands in different things, you have to guess what kind of food it was.
It's just somebody's brains.
Yeah, they're like, this is brains. And you're like, no, it's not, it's tomatoes.
I think it feels really good, like I'm at the spa.
Okay, weirdo.
This is where we do make our tomato sauce, and we actually, all our sauces.
Speaking of weird.
So I've been asking to go into this vat because it can fit me, but Rebecca says it's unhygienic.
So Italian weddings are quite different. Your typical wedding is anywhere from 12 to 16 courses.
At Italian weddings, they'll have to cook for up to 700 people.
Meanwhile, I was cooking for two. Nice change from my usual cooking for one.
Buon appetito! Delicioso.
Perfecto. After Sarah enjoyed our meal, we learned what not to say in Italy.
Pasta comes from Marco Polo when he went to China and found noodles and brought noodles back to Italy. Thanks, China.
You don't say that to an Italian.
And you also don't mention.
I can't help but think about Italy and not think about the mob.
Just make sure you don't say that there. That's one of these ones.
Okay. Well, what should we say?
Piacere. Pleasure to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Piacere.
Meraviglioso, which means marvelous.
Meraviglioso.
Speriamo che sia un amore sincero.
What does it mean?
I hope it's gonna be a true love.
Ragazzi.
Ragazzi.
It means boys.
Oh, God! Ragazzi! Aha. Like I said, a land known for hot boys.
Big weddings and true love.
For Shaw TV, we're the Wedding Bells.
Carrots Wedding Bells has been brought to you by Carrots, online at carrots.com.
Bellissimo! Doesn't everything sound better in Italian? Now, since today we're hosting from the Tsawwassen Ferry Terminal, we may as well ask the question, how long would it take to sail from here all the way to Italy? Or better yet, how long would it take to kayak from here? Of course, we don't really need to because there's plenty of beautiful places to explore, especially around Vancouver Island and the Comox Valley.
Big Summer is brought to you by Cultus Lake Water Park, BC's #1 water park.
You see the world from a different perspective when you're in a kayak.
Saw a few seals along the way, which was pretty exciting because they came up pretty close to the kayak.
In the Comox Valley, the sport of kayaking, much like the rest of the country, is gaining popularity, and it's quite readily accessible.
Oh, this is great, just so close to town, where I was saying to the girls how you don't have to put it on a vehicle and drive such a distance, you know, to go and put your kayak somewhere. So this is really nice to have it close, and you can just get in the kayak and go and pretty well pick your route. So it's nice to have that option.
Hailing from Manitoba, Comox Valley Kayaks' Lauren Labossiere has a bit of history with the art of paddling.
When you're born there, they hand you a canoe paddle and you become a canoeist. So I was an avid canoeist for about 25 years and still am, certainly, and was presented the opportunity to try kayaking with a job that I was doing at the time, and I found kayaking to be intuitive and really enjoyable. You can get into really small nooks and crannies and cover a lot of distance, and it's something that you can do on your own. So you can hop into a boat and have a friend with you, and you're each in your own boat, so you can pick and choose your own routes.
Yes, we headed out for a couple hours rental, and we just went down the canal this way towards the bridge, and then we turned around and bypassed this way and went out towards, I guess, out towards the ocean area.
Generally speaking, if you're in a beginner style kayak, a little bit wider, you're sitting yourself right in the water basically, so it's a nice stable platform to enjoy the scenery here.
So what are some key points to consider before you set out in the local waters?
Okay, so for safety and to meet Transport Canada requirements, you need to have a few things with you when you go kayaking. So you have your trusty kayak and your propulsion mechanism, which is a paddle. You need to have a way to bail your boat out. With kayaks, it's often a pump, which we store under the deck line, so it's a bilge pump to pump out should you get water in your boat. You're required to have 50 feet or 15 meters of rope that floats. So we just have a little rope bag secured behind the seat. And you also need a PFD that fits you, so a personal flotation device with a louder than voice sound signaling device, so we send everyone out with a whistle. So one thing to know for kayaking is you want to be aware of the local area in which you're heading out. So for example, here at the shop, we're located right next to the Courtenay Air Park, and we are right adjacent to the river, which is landing strip for float planes. But wherever you go, you need to be aware of the marine forecast as well as the regular forecast. You want to know what the wind is up to, and you also want to know what the tides are doing, and if there's anything you need to look out for. We talked about the Royston shipwrecks. You want to know where those are at different tide levels, and you're always going to have a different experience. You want to know where rocks and reefs might be, and also what kind of wildlife you can expect to see.
For further details on boating safety, you can check out Transport Canada's online resource, boatingsafety.gc.ca. Comox Valley Kayaks is also available online at comoxvalleyKayaks.com. For Shaw TV's Big Summer, I'm Franco Noviello.
Big Summer is brought to you by Cultus Lake Water Park, BC's #1 water park.
We have more exploring from Vancouver Island, including what to do on the way there, coming up. After the break, the best way to beat the ferry lineup blues.
Usually read a book or read the newspaper.
The natural wonders of Fort Rod Hill. The Express. We are your local voice.
Community programming on Shaw has been generously sponsored in part by
hairstyling and color services for Shaw TV, provided by the Lounge Hair Studio, loungehairstudio.com.
Welcome back to The Express. Today's show is really about making the most of your time. Now, we're at the BC Ferry Tsawwassen Terminal. The Labor Day long weekend is historically one of the busiest times here. So we're finding out what to do while you wait.
I don't know, if you want to get a ferry on time, you got to leave hours ahead.
So how best to while those precious weekend hours away?
Usually read a book or read the newspaper.
Reading the written word is popular. You can also be the writer.
Just checking my email, I guess.
Once the communication is flowing, turn the Facebook into FaceTime.
Well, I normally have a book with me, or you can bring a good companion.
For those sailing solo, there's time to squeeze in a quick nap. If your eyes are open, use the time to people watch, or if you're really lucky, parrot watch. Other enjoyable ideas?
Have picnics. Did we just have a picnic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even better to keep the kids entertained.
Well, I just let the kids have fun. They play around. They like the dogs swinging, you know.
If swinging's not your thing, you can shop the quay, you can stroll the causeway, and you can take the #1 piece of advice from frequent ferry travelers.
You always make a reservation.
There's a few ideas for you for making the most of your time. Now, once you've loaded on and off that ferry and landed on Vancouver Island, one spot that's popular to visit for tourists and locals was built nearly 125 years ago. That was a time when Victoria needed a little extra protection, but now the spot's being used to learn about the past and the present.
17 young people from all over North America were at Fort Rod, Helena, Esquimalt doing the darndest thing. They weren't texting or playing on their iPhone. No, they were actually, well, why don't I let them tell you?
We are weeding St. John's wort out of the Garry Oak ecosystem because it is an invasive weed and it'll take over the ecosystem if we let it go unchecked.
So who are these hard-working young people? Well, they're the contest winners from the Robert Bateman and Parks Canada Get to Know contest.
They had to submit an original piece of art, and these were the winning participants.
So young people from Canada and the US spent a week on the coast where they learned, camped, played. They even got to meet Robert Bateman at his home. And on their last day of this week-long camp, they are learning about one of Vancouver Island's most precious treasures.
If we lose the Garry Oak, over 100 species will be endangered and hurt without homes.
And First Nations heritage presenter Cheryl Bryce shared some valuable lessons with these young naturalists.
That's camas seeds.
They leave with a better understanding, a stronger connection to any homeland that they're from, and the importance of Indigenous ecosystems, such as the Garry Oak ecosystem.
Of course, these young folks won this trip because they're artistic. So what better way to teach them about our First Nations people than through art?
They're going to learn about the local Lekwungen people, they're going to learn about the history, they're going to learn about the importance that our role has in these Indigenous ecosystems, and the importance of protecting and conserving these ecosystems.
Nature truly is the best teacher, and with Parks Canada as their guide, these young people truly have had a rare opportunity to understand how sensitive and beautiful nature really is.
I hope that they do go back home and they do think about everything that's happened here, and they do kind of become stewards back in their hometowns and kind of spread the word and really get interested. They already have the interest in nature and ecosystems, but maybe they'll dive even deeper into it. And you know, some of them might choose career paths in science and combining their artistic abilities as well and just blending the two, and that would be wonderful.
I'm Karen Elgersma for Big Summer.
We're back on the mainland now for your Cultus Lake Big Summer Spotlight on local events. Swap meets are great excuses to clean out your kids' cluttered closet or pick up a bargain. Check it out at the Kids Stuff Only Swap Meet in Burnaby. Explore the convergence of media art and electronic music at the New Forms Festival. In its 11th year, the festival features electronic music artists in 3 performance spaces. The Robson Square Artisan Market is open all summer long under the dome at Robson Square. You'll find artisan vendors with handmade goods, live local musicians, and food vendors. And if you happen to be catching a ferry from Tsawwassen, you can also do some local shopping here at the Quay. Now that's it for today's Express. We're going to leave you with a look at the local art scene. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
The feeling I have when I visit, it's very, very intense. Especially if the season is my favorite season, like fall or
it's probably different if you came from more stable country, but the change in Russia was so dramatic that you hardly can recognize your own city where you were born.
When you were away for a long time, your memories start to fade, the bonds start to weaken. And things just get out of focus and become distant, and you become so entrenched into everyday life here that you almost forget. But if you keep going back and if you keep getting connected to what was home, then the urge to go back becomes stronger.
Toronto was already a huge center for immigration, huge diasporic populations, and with them bringing their music and bringing their traditions.